The next panel is a break from what we've been doing so far because we wanted to feature on something on the future. And this is a project which is a science-based space project here on Earth. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up the moderator, Dr. Michael Tyra, as well as the participants, and we will start the panel.
Thank you so much, Anand, and thank you again to Davos Worldwide. You guys are seeing a lot of me today, but it's my privilege to be able to help guide and lead some of these amazing conversations. And this is another one that I'm extremely excited to both lead but also participate in. Today, we're showcasing Moon. It's a project that is extraordinarily ambitious in scale and also in intent. Yes, it's a destination resort, but it's designed to also be a platform for public science engagement, for immersive education, for research partnerships with elements like lunar surface and lunar base experience, an observatory and planetarium, lunar discovery center, and even a proposed university scientific campus. Um, at Davos, as you know, the question is not only can this be built, but also can it contribute and can it inspire people to care more about science in the future and can it be done with credibility? So today I'm pleased to introduce the founders of Moon, Sandra Matthews and Michael Henderson. Sandra and Michael, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm personally extraordinarily excited about this initiative, and I would love to hear more. And I'm sure the audience would too. Can you give us an overview of Moon, where this concept came from, and what you're really looking for what the vision is for this?
Thank you, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the kind introduction. And the fact that you're interested in Moon is very flattering.
Very.
Um,
Thank you.
so this is a project. Kind of where to start? Where do we start? It's a mega scale destination resort project. It's a mass volume touristic endeavor. So it's really all about getting lots and lots of people really interested in space. And we like to think about it as the bridge. Space tourism is very exciting, but it's very, very expensive. And so only a very, very few grouping of the world's people that are interested in space will ever be able to, or at least maybe I shouldn't say ever, for the foreseeable future will not be able to actually participate. They'll simply be spectators. And it's not a particularly great spectator sport to watch a rocket take off and then maybe 15 minutes later come back again. That's kind of it. If you're inside the capsule, that's kind of exciting. But to be inside the capsule, maybe 300, 400, $500,000. That's a lot. And so even the least expensive of the current space tourism projects, which is really the balloon system, still it's going to be $100,000, $125,000 plus. Still a lot. So our concept, our idea of bringing the moon to Earth is one for all to enjoy. And the real goal behind it is to be able to make it affordable and to be able to make millions of people participate. And so you will be able to walk on our lunar surface and explore our lunar colony for $500. So, it's a lot easier, and we can put 2.5 million people on the lunar surface every year. So now all of a sudden we've got mass space tourism availability. And that's exciting because a lot more people can get very, very close to space and that's when the excitement begins. So that's the basic philosophy. Then we surround the whole project with a very large destination resort, a lagoon or a park, residences, as you say, a planetarium and observatory and so on. So it's a whole encompassing sort of project. But the basic premise is the fact that let's get a lot of people really interested in space by letting them participate.
And I want to just add very important point that it's authentic. This is not something where like a theme park. It's something very authentic that if an astronaut is participating on the lunar surface, they go, wow, they got it right. This is honoring what you do, Dr. Tyra. This is honoring what all the astronauts and science And it's about education. It's about exciting the masses about education and teaching them about what is happening in space, how they can participate in other ways, whether it's in research, whether it's in education. So the whole premise is to surround this incredible lunar surface in an authentic way and educate on environment science and wellness and longevity, and then add it in a fun environment as well with the hotel and that sort of component parts as well.
It was amazing. What's the scientific basis for this? I really want to know when you're talking about authenticity, when you're making sure all the details are right. Who are you working with? How are you making sure that this really is an authentic experience for the people that come there?
Well, I think that's a great question. And I think the authenticity word was one of the very first words we wrote down when we sort of said, what on earth is this going to look like? And absolutely authenticity was there, because if it's not authentic, it doesn't work. If it's not authentic, it's a theme park. And so how we tackled your excellent question was, rather than reinvent the wheel, and try to learn this, how would we do this? We thought it much more logical to go to the global experts, astronauts, NASA, and there's so many amazing people in the space business. It's incredible, and they just know everything. And so when you say to them, this has to be authentic, when the dry ice dissipates, when the capsule doors open, when people walk onto our lunar surface, which is huge, if we haven't got it perfect, they're going to notice that. And so we have brought on board a lot of space experts, a lot of industry experts, a lot of space agency experts. And so they just simply know this is what the regolith should look like. This is the appearance that we need to create. This is the smell, the touch, and all of the components. And so you actually can get it perfect. This is the topography of the area that we've chosen to show. And so, yeah, you can get tremendous accuracy. Now, the other nice thing is about the lunar base. It's not simply you'll walk onto this amazing topography and think, oh, wow, this is the moon. But now what do we do? We're going to have a lunar base. And that lunar base is also going to be incredibly accurate, because we're talking to all of the key companies around the world that are currently designing and building prototypes of what they will actually put on the lunar surface when when we're actually living there and staying there for extended stays. So and Axiom is one of the companies, and I mean there's hundreds of them around the world right now. And so we will get there, whether it's Dassault, whether it's Airbus, whether it's Boeing, McDonald, Lockheed Martin, all of these amazing firms, we will actually have their prototype living quarters, if you like, and working quarters on our lunar base. And so again, you won't be walking out onto that lunar base seeing something that that may never happen. It's actually going to be happening. And so, but this time you'll be able to walk inside and actually see what it's going to be like, feel what it's going to be like, and they will have a representative to tell you what you're looking at. So we think that's really cool. Again, authenticity is key. If we miss out on one little thing, we've lost you, and we don't want to lose you.
So, first, Sandra, I wanted to make sure did you have anything to add on? If not,
I think
okay.
Michael. Yeah,
perfect. So I really think this is fascinating in that there's a number of different ways that you could choose to kind of present your identity. There's obviously the destination resort experience, for the masses of individuals, and that really seems to be where you're leaning in. But there's also, obviously, I think the potential with so many partners for this, for Moon to be a kind of a new and emerging technology showcase arena. There's obviously a workforce potential and training angle to this. There's a scientific research and a scientific research center to this. Obviously, I think you guys know that these are all going to be components, but kind of can you tell me about where your thinking is and how you kind of position Moon to potential investors and to interested kind of global parties currently?
Well, great question. And I think the two words, the authentic word was the first word that we scribbled. The second word was logic, and the third word was mathematics. And so we've always used those three key words. The project has to be incredibly authentic because when we invite space agencies around the world to come and utilize our facility, if it's not authentic, they're not interested. So we've got to be authentic. Logic came about by basically saying one of our catchphrases, 12 people have been there, 8 billion want to visit. We're fortunate to have the largest brand in the world. We've got the largest billboard in the world. It's illuminated and it's free. 8 billion people know our brand. So all other brands in the world combined don't have the recognition that our brand has. You don't have to say to someone, let me tell you about the moon. Everybody knows about it. And everybody would love to, in their lifetime, go there if they had the opportunity. So the logic was obviously there because, it's a dream for a lot of people. Everybody looks up at a full moon and goes, wow. The mathematics was really important because a lot of people come up with ideas that simply make no sense economically. You just cannot make it pencil out. The numbers just don't work. And so we had to make the project large. We had to be able to filter a lot of people over a 12-month period through the lunar surface. And we had to surround it by lots of other things so that they wouldn't simply come, spend 90 minutes on the lunar surface and go home. We had to have them stay for a week or 2 weeks and really enjoy this whole atmosphere and so on. That's why you have the scale of the project. But to be specific and answer your question, the reason the financial community will be interested is because it gives a tremendous return on investment. It's a very, very, very profitable project. And we had to make it that way because if you don't, it'll never get built.
Right.
And so we will license 10 of these projects ultimately around the world in 10 global locations, each with large tourism volume, each with large population, and each with infrastructure available to be able to handle it one at a time. And we hope to announce the first regional license in the not too distant future. And it's the old classic stock market scenario. No one wants to be first, and then no one wants to be left behind. So the first one is difficult. The rest follow suit fairly quickly. And remember, from a government perspective, each moon will bring 10 million annual tourists. Virtually no other project in the world can do that. Very few can actually capture that sort of imagination. So it works. In short, it works from an ROI perspective. It's very profitable.
And then, I just was going to add, and then surround that with a turnkey team that can deliver. That is critical because you're sitting around a table, whether it's with government officials or investors, and they want to say, hey, Michael, Sandra, what's your experience in this? Well, we have a team surrounded by us with years and years of experience of building amazing projects all over the world. And that team is ready to go, and they're incredible. So that's critical. It's a turnkey sort of situation. So we present that as well.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Michael, please.
Just 2 quick points. We have, Sandra says, we have over 50 international companies. So, we're not simply a regional, we're not simply a licensor or a design group. We actually are a delivery group as well. So if you're a sovereign wealth fund and you want this project and you point to a piece of land and say, there's 500 acres, go have at it. We will actually deliver the project as well. So we have the expertise in-house to be able to deliver it. The other small point I wanted to share with you, and you brought it up, was the university aspect. And so, yes, it's very important to us to have the education component. We will have a science university at Moon, and we will actually have part of the campus on the lunar surface, which is really exciting. The first university on the moon.
That's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about I mean, you said within the next, hopefully, little bit, you'll have your first licensee. Can you tell me who are the licensees potentially? Are you looking with actual governments? Are you working with private equity? What is the ideal licensee for a project like this?
The ideal licensee for us, and we're very flexible, but it really takes a government to start the process because Moon's a big deal. It's a big project. It will be a tremendous tax driver. It will produce thousands of jobs in the building process and careers once it opens. So it affects transportation, education. It affects taxation, and it affects airports and airlift capacity and cruise ship capacity. It really delivers a lot. So it really sort of takes a government initiative to say, okay, we want this big project. Thereafter, we will complete the pre-development program, and then, we're flexible. It could be major corporation who are already in the hospitality game or the entertainment game or the attractions sort of circuit. It could be a sovereign wealth fund who simply have the capital and want to get a high return on a fixed asset that's secure. We're open. We're completely flexible as to who providing they're suitable, of course, but we're flexible, and I think we have to be. The government participation is important, first of all, because any of the finance groups that are looking at a mass volume project always say, well, is there land available?
Right.
And you need government for that. And then they'll say, are the government behind the project? And you have to be able to say, absolutely. And so if you have the land or the land is available and the government will say, we want this to happen, then getting the finance is fairly straightforward. It is a big project, but there's plenty of big projects happening around the world.
Well, how large actually do you envision these campuses being in total?
The overall master plan currently is about 500 acres, and that includes the destination resort as the central focal point, the anchor, if you like.
Yeah.
Then we surround that with a lagoon and a park because the project is incredibly environmentally sensitive. Then we surround that by a branded residence, which has 10,000 luxury branded residents. And then we surround that with another park. So it's very much a green project. It's environmentally sensitive. It's a little bit like a mini smart city, if you like, very technology driven. Um, and Yeah, there's lots going on inside that overall master plan, but I don't think we'll have time to cover it all.
Well, I think at some point I would love to have a larger conversation about exactly all that, what
For
that's
sure.
all going to entail. But um, I'd love to get in a little bit more to the impact. So obviously, it's pretty clear, as you said, the idea and the vision and the brand, is pretty accessible to almost anybody. So from a purely tourism and experience perspective, it makes perfect sense. What I would love for you to tell me more about is from a humanistic standpoint, what do you hope people get out of this when they leave when they leave Moon? How do you hope that it affects them? What kind of impact do you hope on a societal and global scale Moon has for the world going forward?
We need a project like this now. We need to be talking about projects like this now. Exactly what you said, to have that impact on society in a much bigger way, not just a frivolous way. This project will actually impact society in a very large way. Michael just alluded to the government features, but when guests arrive from a little child to an adult, the impact will be the learning and the education of all the different things that they're going to be part of for example, the environment. They're going to learn about how to take care of this planet so that we're leaving it in a good place. They're going to have subtle hints of how to do it so that when they leave, they're talking about the environment. They're talking about science. They're talking about what's happening in the future and where we are heading with that. They're getting excited about wanting to go into careers like that. They're talking about well-being and longevity and our health, because that's huge. That's a huge component about the project. And all of these elements are part of the development right from day one. So we don't build this project and then say, let's add a nice well-being center. That has to be part of the development and the design from day one, just as the science and the component parts from environment, everything has to be part of it. And I think when they leave, they're going to leave saying, wow, we had a little bit of an overview effect, perhaps, right?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I just add to that, and I think that's exactly correct, everything that was just shared. One of the things we sometimes say when we're asked that question, which is a great question, is that if Dr. Tyra comes to Moon and after a week or two leaves and goes back home, and he's sitting having a cup of coffee, and someone says, "Tell me about that project. What was it like?" If you say the lunar surface was incredible, it was a life-changing event, let me tell you all about it. If that's the end of it, we have failed. What we want you to be able to say is, the lunar surface was incredible. It was life-changing. But let me tell you about all of the other things that happened as well. So that's really critical. Of course, we will be known as the developers of the largest spherical building in the world. Nothing comes remotely close. It's a true sphere. It's not a dome. It's a sphere, and it's massive. So yes, the architectural and engineering aspect is going to be mind-blowing. Yes, when you're on the lunar surface, people will drop to their knees in tears because it's going to be life-changing. But it's really critically important that everything else also grabs you, like the longevity and wellness and all of this. It's a multifaceted scenario,
Right.
and that's really important.
Well, that's amazing. I want to utilize the last 5 or 6 minutes that we have and let you kind of dive in a little bit more on the wellness and longevity sphere. We've been seeing already in Davos in the last couple of days that this year there is a enhanced interest and focus on longevity and health and wellness. We've seen that on a number of panels throughout the week. It's just become a much more important topic for the world and for investors as well as practitioners. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you're infusing that component into Moon and why that's important for you?
Wow, that's a huge, huge component for us. And as I said, it starts from the beginning. It used to be, like I said, that they just added them on, added a gym, added a wellness component to it, to a resort or destination. But everything that Moon is about will be touched through the wellness thread and the well-being thread and the longevity thread. Because if we don't have a healthy society, we don't have a healthy planet, and the studies that they're doing with astronauts and their training and the things that we're learning, as you say, longevity is the buzzword right now. It's all about prevention for us, and it's all about the whole holistic approach to how we're doing things. So we will have an incredible transformational well-being center that will be part of our project. It'll be attached to fitness, and everything that they're talking about today is going to be in there, but also what we're thinking about and where we're heading, because that's now, mind you, 5 years from now, we're going to be seeing lots of results that these places are having and what we really should be focused on. We're focused on good eating, and restaurants will demonstrate that. Good for the planet, animal welfare, and things like that. Anything else, Michael, you wanted to?
Yeah, I think
multisensory experiences from our sight, our smell, our sound. These are all things that we're going to be implementing right from day one. This is part of the whole design process within the whole project. That's very important for us, the holistic side of all of it.
I think what makes and yes, you're quite right, Doctor. The buzzword, today's buzzword has been longevity. I should say that to Sandra's credit, 25 years ago, she said, this is where it's going to go. And she was a little bit ahead of her time. But here we are, and it is the buzzword today. I think the difference with Moon, as opposed to a standalone small spa or wellness center, is the fact that we're going to be putting through millions of people. And so every year we can impact millions of
Right.
people, and we can share with millions of people subliminally why we
Right.
should treat animals properly, why we should treat humans properly, why we
Right.
should treat planet Earth properly. And without ramming things down people's throat, you can simply say, you can show, you can demonstrate there are different ways to do things.
Right.
And you can do it in a nice atmosphere. Because we cannot treat the lunar surface, we cannot
Right.
treat it like a trash pit. Otherwise it's not going to be a very pleasant place.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. That's amazing. In the last kind of minute that we have, can you just tell me a little bit about the types of partners that you still need and how anybody listening, if they want to get involved, what they can do and how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, we can. I think we have our information website, info@moonworldresorts.com. The information I think we've put on this system. We have an Instagram, we have Facebook, we have all sorts of things. So we're gettable. You can get us. You don't have to go to the moon to find us.
LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instagram is
So
Moon World Resorts Inc. So please, reach out and
yeah, delighted to talk to anybody and share different ideas. We're always completely open. There's a lot happening. We get about 1,000 inquiries a week for jobs. So we don't have a lot of jobs right now, but when we open, we will. But it's we've got an amazing group, and we can certainly pull this all together. I mean, from an investment perspective, we're always open. Governments, we're currently talking to several around the world, but we're always open to having discussions and sharing ideas. We've got something very special, and we can deliver it. Yeah.
that's
Perfect. Well, thank you both, Michael and Sandra. It was a pleasure to meet you and to talk to you and learn more about Moon. This is an amazingly ambitious and exciting initiative. I'm looking forward to seeing how it evolves over the coming years. But thank you for joining us today. It was a
Thank
wonderful
you.
discussion.
Thank you.
Thank